During the recent workshop where I showed beginners how to construct a peak model for Carbon 1s, I made use of a display mode in which I could use the slideshow information, so I could show what PMMA ought to look like in terms of carbon chemistry, and correlate it with the spectra that were measured from polymethyl methacrylate in terms of Carbon 1s. I was asked subsequently to repeat how I set up the display so that you could perform this type of correlation, and so that is the subject of this video. When CasaXPS is invoked, you see images in the left and the right hand side. The right hand side is just one image, and it is a message image that you can include every time Casa starts. That will appear. On the other hand, the left hand, that is, what we have is a set of images. They're all stored in a directory, and I refer to this as a slideshow, and this directory will allow me to manage a set of images which, if I use the page up and page down, I can step through. And sometimes this is useful. For example, in this case, I wanted to show the chemistry of polymethyl methacrylate and relate it to Carbon 1s spectra. When I open a file, I see the data, I see the structure of the file, but I don't see the slideshow. Not unless I do something specific. So what I'm going to do is create, first of all, two tiles, and I want them to be arranged in columns. So I've got two tiles, or rather room for two tiles. I've got one tile displayed and the other one is empty. So I can now use the options menu and add another tile, and what it does is it just adds the tile that's selected into the space. So I've got a repetition of the Carbon 1s spectrum. Now, using the tile display parameters dialog window, all the display items on these various pages include a geometry page which lets me pick whether I want to look at the data using 2D, 3D or some other form, and one of the options is the slideshow. So if I change my display state so that in this particular tile, this was the active tile on which the tile display parameters dialog acted, I've switched from displaying data to displaying the slideshow. Here I can use the page down and page up to show the different bitmaps that are available within the slideshow I've previously prepared. So that is the basic mechanism for displaying data as you see here. So I used the different formats for the page in terms of tiles. That was how I got my two tiles, and then I used the tile display parameters dialog window to specify a different state for what is going to be displayed in the display tile. Now, having done so, I would like to save this state. So if I make some adjustment, say if I double clicked on one of these VAMAS blocks, it would then just display that VAMAS block and I'd lose the state that I'd just created. There's an option on the toolbar button over here. This is available from the view menu. This is the display shortcut toolbar and it's enabled. So when I use this toolbar button that says save tile format, what that will do is it will save the display state, and these two buttons become enabled, so I can then recover the display state. So if I were to look at, for example, the Oxygen 1s and think, well, I'd like to go back to where I was, I could display using TFF, meaning the tile format file that is associated with this display state, or I could restore the format that I'd previously looked at. I'm going to press that button, and now I've got my Carbon 1s and my slideshow available to me again.